For MOUZ. Again, 13-6 last time in favor of Falcons on this very map. It's not that long ago either, down in Australia. And for MOUZ to now get it into overtime and then potentially be denied a victory anyway, I don't think that's going to be a lot of fun. Smoke blown open out here. Nico, for once, he's actually got m0NESY outside, and they were ready for it. Torshi's been doing great work.
Great Molotov, though, from Nico. That's going to slow things down, buy time for his teammates to rotate. But even still, love it from Exertion. Doesn't want to wait for his teammates. He knows the timing's important, but misses the shot. And that's a key moment here where we have to reset for both sides as MOUZ now reconsider their options.
Jimmy and Brolan inside of the lobby. Kixan, though, hold the phone, pushing forward. Not quite as ready as he would have liked, but he still somehow wins the fight. How does he get Brolan? I could see how he could have surprised Jimfat here, but Brolan just almost getting the kill. 19 health on Kixan, and now he's just buying time. They're going to wrap around once again. We've said it every time we watch MOUZ play the map. It's something they just absolutely love, and it should work. I don't think there's enough defense. At a minimum, they should get a bomb plant. Kixan goes down, and now the question is how much more could happen. Magus does get a kill, but he's on the T roof. This is all-out madness. They've all traded places. Now the Ts are playing in CT positions, and the other way around. It's upside-down world. Tess is caught trying to get up. You're going to have to be a lot faster to get rid of Spinks. 2 versus 3 on the retake. I doubt this is going to happen.
Nico making his way up. I don't know that he's made it up there. Oh, but Exertion turning the corner at the perfect moment there, catches him, and now it's just Magix with 11 health, and he's not anywhere close. So you're right, Anders. This was kind of insane. If you look at all of the positional swaps, really, really wild stuff there. Just again, I mean, that is evidence that both teams are so high level that everyone can just start playing intuitively outside their own structures to find opportunities and then seamlessly play off of them.
Okay,
yeah, get those stats. Let's go.
Why not? Save the AK. By the way, he had 11 health and he went down to 4 in that range. It's like when you know exactly how the bomb radius works. You've probably been playing too much Counter-Strike, let's be honest, but I appreciate it. Magisk, we said it, he's been the subject of a lot of criticism, some of it probably quite fair. Tessis also, not exactly been, shining the way that people would have wanted. The two Danes are playing pretty well right now, which obviously makes me happy. I thought Gage Counter-Strike was dead. I was already ready to bury all of it, It's like, we're moved on. Never mind, we had our day in the sunshine, but there's still some out there, We're still doing a little bit.
Yeah, he's still got some stuff. He can still revive that. I mean, I'm just surprised by Nico's stat line. He's 18 for 19. Given how many rounds we've just seen him just die, he's the first death in so many rounds. The fact that he's still got 18 kills is actually quite impressive.
I mean, I think the fact that they've been able to catch him out in the yard so much is probably a talking point for the desk as well, in how much MOUZ have prepped that and how ready they are to catch him. Because who really wants to fight Nico in the yard at all ever? But they're actually doing it, and they are consistently winning. So that tells you they are ready. It's not just a coincidence. They have the grenades down. They catch him as he's walking through the smoke. It's really sick. But this time, Craters, Gravity, defeating Spinks, and that could be the first step in the right direction for Falcons. Close now to winning the map. They just need basically 2 more kills as Brolan is practically dead already.
Kixan with another one there in the upper side, and now there's no choice but to go straight into m0NESY's AWP. That is absolutely not the direction you want to go in, but where else could you go? m0NESY falling off. They have a 4 versus 2, so Falcons can certainly change the approach.
Here's the flank again. He's far away from the action, so it might not actually feel like a flank to MOUZ because he's just going to be coming in from the ramp by the time the bomb is down. MOUZ really should never win this round. It's so unlikely. 50 seconds. Even planting the bomb is hard to do at the moment. But they have got the digits in somehow. I'm surprised that they didn't get jumped and pushed more. m0NESY, he sees just a fading face around it. Torshi picking up Kixan here. And Jimmy was the one escaping through the smoke now. They have a bit of a shot maybe. MOUZ, can they force it into double OT is the big question. Smoke on m0NESY as well. Tessis will get Torshi. It's all up to Jimmy. Turns around, but shot in the back by m0NESY. And Falcons on the defuse. 16 on the board as they pick up the opening map of the semifinals. What a relief for them.
MOUZ tried to drag that out, kicking and screaming, but the Falcons would not let Nuke out of their talons once they had a grip. Stealing their opponent's map pick now. It's looking good for the Birds of Prey.
But they needed this one, MOUZ. Like, they had it in the back. You know, they fumbled, they lost multiple force buy rounds, multiple situations where they just looked like too stubborn in terms of not rotating. I feel like they came out in this series with this in like the feeling of actually wanting to go out and play more aggressive. They wanted to get the influence. One of the things that they said themselves they didn't do well in Melbourne, you know, they needed to play not scared. I think they did that. But then again, at the same time, they actually managed to mess up the rounds they were not supposed to mess up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if I told you that MOUZ was going to kill Nico outside pretty much every time they saw him and get man advantage or at least put themselves in a decent winning position from that point forward, you would probably think, oh, sure, they'll convert. Or if I told you that, you know, MOUZ, they got like 5 rounds on T, but then they lose the 2 ecos that prevents them from getting, you know, 6 or 7 rounds that could have made them almost undeniable going in the second half. So certainly MOUZ had the opportunities, but Falcons, credit where credit's due. MOUZ steps up in a big way. He's been playing really well so far this term, actually. He's been one of the guys that people fear not be on the chopping block. He's been delivering. And despite Nico getting kind of rattled outside a lot of those rounds, everyone else was able to find really big key moments to help them stay in this game.
And like the whole Nico narrative that you're talking about, he didn't have any impact whatsoever. He kept getting shot through the smokes when it was blown up, everything. I think that also obviously played into MOUZ's favor, but at the same time, whenever they would get Nico outside, they would blow up the smokes. They would get no information only by killing him. They simply looked too stubborn in the way so that they did not rotate enough onto the B bomb side. It just looked like they were, okay, we got Nico. This is a really great card in our hands. Now that we just have to stack up for the A bomb side. They're probably not going to hit the lower. And what Falcons did, you know, they changed up the pace when they were like being sneaky, whether they're being fast. They just played out the rounds perfectly, even when they lost Nico constantly.
Yeah, I think the big marks for MOUZ against them in this one is obviously the 2 ecos, or 3 ecos actually, that they lost in the first half. I think the other one you're going to look at a lot is the fact that they were unable to really get any retakes going consistently on the lower bomb site, and they often gave that up, as you were kind of alluding to. And I think the other big one that's really going to hurt them is that there were even rounds where they didn't seem to have a read on ramp room. There was times where they were getting flanked at heaven and getting caught off. I mean, it was just kind of a nightmare, if we're being 100% honest. This is one of the ecos we were actually talking about right here in round number 3.
And obviously, like, Nico is obviously doing his thing. You know, he understands the situation. By getting insertion, he knows that's probably going to be the only one. Then he knows he can rotate off, gets another kill, and they just play off each other. And, you know, with the individual prowess of Nico, you know, even with a FAMAS, he actually just makes it look so easy.
There was actually a takeaway in Brolan's interview with HLTV last night where he said one of the things that they were happy about from the FaZe game was it finally felt like they were winning some of the shaky rounds that usually go against them. Well, we're right back to the script for MOUZ here. Every shaky round manages to slip out of their grasp.
Yeah, you really feel like MOUZ, if they could have somehow at least gotten like 2 of these 3, you know, ecos that they lost to, or even one, obviously, would have made the difference of maybe having this thing in the bag in regulation without even having to go into overtime. And again, for a team that did so many things right to be able to get 5 rounds on the T side, despite the fact that they got ecoed on round 3, so they didn't even get to a roaring start like they were hoping to. They found 3 more rounds still towards the end of the half to keep them in contention. And then again, they dominated Nico outside defensively. Like, these are really good things to have, you know, going for you to try to convert your map pick of Nuke, but it just didn't matter. Again, they couldn't retake lower, they weren't rotating properly, and they weren't able to handle some of the sneak plays that got thrown against them.
And both pistols, you know, they had everything in the books to get this one.
Oh, that's so painful when you look back at it. When you say it like that,
it is tough.
That hurts.
You know how much this hurts for me, too, is like Nico doesn't even get credit for the kill on Spinks the final round because he cratered. Like, that's just how evil things were towards Nico outside this game. But still, he played really well, particularly in the first half.
It's brutal. Some brutal moments. If you're MOUZ, how do you pick yourself up after this one?
It's going to be tough. You know, they know they're going up against Falcons now on Dust 2. You know, a map that we know that Falcons is most likely feeling like a heavy favorite coming into. You know, they feel so confident in this map. Like, the amount of tactics they have, the amount of fake they can do, it just plays in, and you know you have money. You probably, if not the best AWP in the world, outside of, not looking at ZywOo, obviously, and then also the playmaker of Nico. You know, the way that they can control the game on both sides, actually. I think it's going to be super tough for MOUZ. And obviously, going from losing this game, they're also going to be saying to each other, okay, we should have won this game. And maybe they're going to bang their heads against the wall thinking, okay, if I would have made this mistake in that given round, that would have changed the outcome. But, you know, you got to try and leave that behind because you got another map coming in. And in top professional Counter-Strike, anything can happen. There is a case that MOUZ can win. It's going to be, yes, it's going to be very hard, but there is always a case.
And for the Falcons as well, right? Even in a map where half the time it felt like Nico was getting neutralized, they had this other guy, MOUZ, stepping up once again. He's putting together quite the resume here at Rivals.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, MOUZ's performance has been pretty damning so far this year, if we're honest. You know, particularly in Melbourne, he looked like he was really off of things.
That's the past. Think about
Yeah.
the present. He's doing so great
I
right
was setting
now.
it up, okay? I was talking about how, you know, from those ashes in Melbourne, he's arisen here in this Nuke game, and I think he had
No, they're
a phenomenal
Falcons,
amount
not
of impact.
Phoenixes.
I think overall, like for matches like throughout his adventure inside of Falcons, you know, it's been difficult for him. You know, now he's gotten a team that he was probably promised back when he was actually pulled back for this one, and also coming from being ranked as the best anchor of 2023, and then coming and leaving Vitality coming into this. You know, it's been difficult for him. I know that I've played with him, and I know him as on a personal level. And he's a guy that works hard, you know, and he's a person that understands that his needs of the team. So he's not been satisfied with himself. And I even remember that the first time it happened for him, he told me that he had 2 back-to-back negative events. He told me that this is the first time this has happened for him. You know, it was very hard on him. You know, he expects a lot of himself. You need to do that as a competitor. But to him, to have that, you know, that was difficult. So to bounce back now, maybe it's a really good time. Also looking that the major is just a couple of weeks ago. Ahead, not ago.
Time is a flat circle,
That
really,
is-
if we're being quite frank.
theory,
and
yeah.
the time is going to bring MOUZ and Falcons back to Dust 2. So my question is, how are we feeling? Do we have any faith in MOUZ after that collapse on Nuke?
I mean, the fact that it's Dust 2, it's going to be tough. We talked about it in the pre-game session that we felt that MOUZ needed to win Nuke to go there. They should have won it. Now that's also like on top of them playing Dust 2 is going to be a mental battle coming back to the game. So now I'm a little bit worried. I'm actually thinking that Falcons going to close it out 2-0 here.
Well, potential concern that they might just do. But if they were going to win, if they were going to bring it back, who would you be looking at MOUZ here at Dust? Who would you be looking at to spring them back into this matchup?
I mean, I think really, you know, coming into this next one, it's just their ability to load the box with talent and just be able to try to go out there and go out swinging with pace. And so, obviously, Xerxion's the one that you look to be the main kind of point of entry, but I think Spinks is the follow-up fragger is the other big one. And obviously, on a map like Dust 2, we know how important long A control is, and that's where your A anchors have to come into play. And really, that's going to be up to Brol and Xerxion and their op Torzy making the right reads to be able to defend against that sort of thing. So there are routes to victory. They have beaten this team twice, but they haven't beaten them since they got m0NESY. I think that's the big X factor as well coming into a game like that.
You were coming in swinging big for your boy Torzy. Does he have what it takes?
I think he does, man. Like, I think he's often gone underrated. I think this year he's finally kind of getting the stars that he deserves. You know, obviously, you're always going to overlook him because of guys like Zuo m0NESY existing in this world, but I think Torzy has really shown what he's capable of throughout this last, you know, few months.
And he was really great on the last map. You know, he had multiple frags and impacts. So overall, I think Torch looking great. He's looking great in series. Yeah, obviously you need to look better if you also want to beat Falcons, but you know, he's going in the right direction. But you know, coming into this too, he definitely needs to keep up.
Headed in the right direction, but they couldn't close on Nuke. Now, we're going to take a quick little break here, folks, and when we come back, it'll be time for Dust. And I'm not talking the analyst. MOUZ with an implosion on Nuke, but now they get a chance to do it all again. We head to Dust, and the Falcons just need to triumph here, and then they will move. But who better to start the dialogue on Dust than the man himself? Dust Discs, go ahead, discuss.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about this because I do feel like Falcons look like the most fierce competitors on Dust 2. They've won their last 7 games in a row, including against this very MOUZ Sports team in Melbourne in a very one-sided fashion, I might add. MOUZ Sports, not as great of a resume, but in the past they have proven that they are capable of beating this Falcons team before they got MOUZ, beat them twice, and they've also beaten some other good teams like Vitality and Aurora. So I think both these teams share similar strengths in the sense that they have so much rifling talent. When you're able to get them out into open space on T side, they can just do so much. You know, Nico and Tessus is a great combination. And then obviously Xerxin and Spinks is another great combination. They also have good rifling oppers on both sides, which is going to be huge in open space as well. And I think the big differentiating factor of who's going to win this map will be determined on A anchoring. We know how important long A control is, Dupree. And actually Falcons made a recent change to their CT side at Melbourne where they've shifted Tessus back into an A anchoring position when he used to be their B rotator. So I want to see how does he handle the pressure that MOUZ puts up against him when he gets tested. And then on the opposite side, it's usually Brawlin that has to deal with that sort of thing as the IGL. So that's going to be a really key matchup, I think.
And looking at why I think that the Falcons Dust 2 is so strong is that they try not to overcomplicate things. They have their protocols under control. You have Nico taking a lot of mid space. Whenever they get the catwalk control without actually getting damaged, then they're very notorious for the catwalk execution. They seem to just like to grow up, you know, and actually play the numbers. It's a thing that we've talked about in CS2 being really strong, just playing off the numbers. And eventually, you know, whenever they just seem to just do things correctly. They don't need to do anything. The playbook doesn't have to be super deep, but overall, the way that they just approach the map with the protocols, it's just hard to do something in sometimes. It is very, very simplistic.
It's one of those things where I don't think either team has like the crazy tactical edge on a map like this. No one's reinventing the wheel on Dust 2.
You don't really need that for Dust 2.
Exactly. It's all about mid-round decision-making in critical moments. Like, do I go for the mid-B split? Do I commit to the cat cross? As a CT team, do I pivot my rotation? Do I think I had the right read on if they're going mid-B or if they're crossing cat? Do I deal with the spawn-based plays? Or do I just let them have it and try to play for a retake or just try to play on site? You know, those are the critical decision-making moments that will matter the most in this game. Kixon has a little bit more experience doing that, but Brawlin has proven that he is capable of doing that with all the success that this team has had. But again, he hasn't done it against MOUZ yet, and that's the big difference maker in a map like this, I think.
An op can be all the tilt on the scales. With what you've laid out, with what we've discussed, with what we saw on Nuke, who you got?
I said it at the very beginning. I thought if Falcons could steal Nuke, I thought they would win the series, and I stand by that, and I think now it'll be a 2-0.
With things looking a little bit grim against FaZe yesterday and the things going back and forth, I still think that MOUZ maybe need to have some kind of adjustment to make it. So, yeah, I'm going to shift over to 2-0 Falcons.
Okay, they've won over the analysts. Have they won our casters? One more bout, perhaps, on Dust. Anders and DDK, who you got?
So tough, isn't it? Last time I was a very, very Falcons favored. I think they're going to do it 2-0, but I am impressed by MOUZ. I mean, they still play hard Counter-Strike.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we saw it. Torzi's having a great game, and I mean, a performance from an AWPer like that on Dust 2. I mean, you can never count that out. But at the same time, if Nico comes online here, and I feel like he has a way more of a chance to come online on a map like Dust 2, I do feel like I'm going to edge Falcons, but it is so hard to call. And we're going to just have to see how the economy falls here, Anders, as that is often quite telling. We saw it yesterday, FaZe having a horrendous start, getting on the other, like the wrong end of the economy early, and they fought back, but it still wasn't enough in the end. So we'll have to see how that falls as we go into map 2 of the semi-finals here, Blast Rivals between MOUZ and Team Falcons.
It's going to be MOUZ starting on the CT side with Falcons. T side setting up a little bit of a push towards long, but it's just Magisk, I think, taking a peek. Oh, actually more than that. I take it back. He's actually all the way out pressuring Brolan. Although the rest of MOUZ, interestingly, they're not buying it. They don't feel like it's a lot of pressure at the moment. Nico to begin with. Glock to take down Spinks, and that means Jimfat's alone at the bomb site mid-air. He clips MOUZ out of the sky. Might be on Falcons, but his wings are absolutely gone here. And falls back to try and see if he can hold on to it a little while longer. They are pushing in. Good utility coming in from Falcons to get onto the bomb site. Nico, one more shot. He should be dead right now. How is he not killed? Finally, Exertion takes him down. And he's got a couple of bullets left. 9 here, to be exact. No bomb plant yet. And he pushes into kicks and drops him. You could see the sigh of relief there for Nico. He got the triple, and he lived way past his due date.
Oh yeah, that's what you want to see if you're a Nico or a Nico fan, and you know he had such a rough start on that game of Nuke previously. Getting into the action straight away, nice shot from Jimfat. I thought that he, with the confidence he was showing from the doors there, I thought he was going to get some more, but Team Falcons overpowering the B sites and getting off to a good start with that first pistol. And MOUZ, we'll see how creative they can get here. You've got to be real creative in this kind of a position as the CTs. You don't get many options, Anders, when you're on an eco on Dust 2.
Yeah, and I like the stack. I wish they had bought a $200 flashbang just in case, you know?
Just one.
But I will always say that. So right now, I think just a couple of kills here. I doubt you're coming into this with the USP thinking, oh, wouldn't it be sick if we could win the round. But yeah, they're all stacked up. Probably going to be bored at some point soon. Starting to slide down the middle. And all of Mount Falcons, they're just moving up long. There's no pressure. They have everything they need to smoke the cross, which they already have, and kind of keep it going. I think Brolin might have heard the smoke going down, so I think that they have a good read. So actually, maybe just exit kills at this stage. If you can find that, that's probably pretty sick. Yeah,
if you can take a gun away, you know, hold on to an AK, of course, that would be a beautiful result. There's only one on the board, though, just Nico's. The rest are Galil's. m0NESY with the scout. In fact, they're going straight into m0NESY. Headshot to start things off with. Sees every other player calling for help, I wonder. Well, it's not going to get there quickly enough to save m0NESY, but there we go. The range is really favoring the AK, and Nico is mowing them down. And so off to a good start. 6 kills at the end of 2 rounds, and it's a nice quick one there on round 2, Anders.
And if you were going to do someone, why not let it be the scout after all? Kind of get rid of it, and m0NESY will pick up an AK in turn. Yeah.
Man, you made me low, motherfucker.
Okay, listen, they're having a good time. I much prefer that version of Nico to the
desks are safe.
Desk smashing, eye rolling beast that he can be.
Long take there for MOUZ, making sure they hold on to that. Brolin is dug in towards the end of position where he can go and assist Cats, but can also play the nade game here, the support for his teammate. Pop flash Brolin in potentially. Actually, he doesn't have a flash left, so never mind. Scratch that. There it is. They've spotted the movement towards Cat, so not a huge level of threat here.
So the peek that Nico does is calculated on the fact that MOUZ won't have an AWP in this round, because otherwise you're going to be Molotoving out the position that Exertion was in instead. So that's not something that you're probably not going to see later on. But I love the fact that he tried to do it, because obviously if he throws the Molotov in this round instead, then all he's really doing is telling Exertion that they're going to get catwalk control. So trying to get the kill instead, I like it. It's going to be an A split. They actually do have 3 people here in position. So MOUZ, in terms of where the troops are, is not a bad start to the round, but it will still come down to some of those early kills, because once one of them falls here, it is a bit like dominoes for the A defense. You just tend to get overwhelmed. 35 seconds though, Dan. It's running the clock very low.
Yeah, and Brolin lost his support here. He's now isolated. He did have Torzi as a bait here. He's a slight off angle in that position, but man just looking for it, finds the inside headshot onto Brolin. And now, as you say, not much time. They have to just send it straight to the side. Nico takes down Exertion with the molly, and right now, the scaling is going quite nicely here onto that A site for Falcons.
They got everything they wanted. Deep Molotov onto that sole player at the bomb site, Exertion, who was trying to hold on, so he has to run out while he's still on fire. And Brolin couldn't stand up to the Galil that was coming in. I don't think he had head armor. That sounded like a bit of a meaty shot, so even the Galil there on Magisk is a pretty nice weapon to open up with. Huge for Falcons. I mean, obviously, fantastic start. Best case here, MOUZ is saving some of the weapons, which they are doing all the way across the map. But yeah, again, I think the desk highlighted it for us pretty well. We're not always looking for, you know, sick strategies on this map, but a lot of it comes down to some of these openings and, you know, just the mid-round calls for when you're doing what. And yeah, Falcons, it was just an A split in a sense.
Yeah.
But executed really late.
And you could see that the spot for Brolin was pretty nice, because from Magisk's position, indeed, it is an off angle. He has to make a micro correction to actually land that shot. So that does give Brolin the first bullet against Magisk in that fight. But Magisk is really in form right now in this series. We've discovered looking at just nukes. So good to see that form continuing. And I mean, also, and it's so tough on the CT side. Falcons played a slow game. MOUZ had 0 util. They had no AWP. They have not very many options at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and that obviously comes into it in terms of just trying to keep the dream alive, defending the A-bomb side of the previous round here. Already, Nico is pushed out. Torshi's pushed up into the middle, and we've got a bit of a double setup. Now, they hear the singe of the Molotov there, so they're going to have an idea of what's going on. The question is, how do Falcons react? A weird round so far.
Oh my goodness, Torzi's spot there. Imagine if he got into that spot. Unknown, but he's been spotted, he's been tagged, and he is low, and they are coming for him. There's definitely going to be support there. They've got to be careful here, Falcons. They are making their way slowly forward. They are so cognizant that there is a setup in mid, and Torzi's trying to force the issue. m0NESY, though, able to handle that with no problems at all. And look at that, the stack and the boost. Nico is the one to get the headshot indeed, and the cleanup there against MOUZ is looking very nice.
I feel like the degree to which m0NESY just doesn't care about the fact that, like, they know, they heard the scope. He knows that he's giving away that information, but he's just basically saying, it just doesn't matter because I will just kill you anyway. Fabulous to see. Kind of terrifying to be up against, to be honest, too. Brolan around the corner here. Okay, not the best spray. Tess's kind of slipping up a tiny bit. Won't change the round at all. 30 seconds. They're going to make their way onto the A site here. Falcons, it's a powerful start for them. They've pretty much managed to roll their way forward. They'd love to exchange that MP9 for something better right now. I think that's the mission that Exertion is on. Baited into the shot. m0NESY absolutely knew.
Yeah, Exertion knew that he couldn't just go for the AK without revealing his position. Good attempt. Jimfat takes down m0NESY, at least. And they want to try to fight a bit more here.
Honestly.
Oh, faking the runaway, actually. Never mind. That's been discovered by the HE.
Yeah, the
great start for Falcons.
The grenades can't hear you, so doesn't matter. But yeah, you're right. m0NESY is actually trying to optimize that round so much that he throws away the AWP to get the MP9, to get the last kill on Jimfat to make a little bit more money. And obviously, he would have picked up the AWP again if he would have got the kill there. So just trying to make the absolute most amount of money that he could have in the round. 4-0. MOUZ not stepping foot onto Dust 2 yet. A vote over on Blast TV. Be shocked if it doesn't favor Falcons. So far, the good people in the chat seem to be favoring that. It makes sense. Oh, we got some MOUZ fans. Oh, this is a smoke for CT spawn, by the way, that's thrown outside of B. This is a nice one to be able to know about. If you, I think it lands the same way up on the box in the middle. Nice.
Gorgeous. Falcons off of that one. Starting to sprint forward. Nice opener from Nico. Kickson will be lost though, but Jimfat with the defense on B, making life difficult here for Team Falcons, but he's got to be careful because Nico is outside B right now. But there's the assist. Exertion coming on through to deal with Nico, but they did not check for Magisk. There's a nice trade from him to hold the space outside the B site and open up time for his teammate to win the 1v1 on the site. Can m0NESY find it here? The delay is really nice though. Jimfat, not just the delay, the frag, and m0NESY with the miss. It's a good recovery though into the 1 versus 1. m0NESY is making so much noise here. The advantage almost there for Torzi, trying to find the timing. The bait comes through. Now m0NESY knows he's got a chance here. Off of the sound cue. Torzi trying to find his way in, and m0NESY is absolutely nailed it. What a timing from him.
Oh, he had such a long fight against Jimmy at the back of the site. I thought, normally if you miss a couple of shots in this kind of, that's it. You know, you don't get to stay alive with the AWP. And then he had that excruciating battle against Torshi. It's so rare that we get to see these, you know, 1v1s. Oh, from Torshi's point of view, pure misery, isn't it?
Oh, they're so good. They're so damn good. m0NESY's in. He's looking great. I mean, that's what you want to see, right? The AWP, but hold that thought. It's another fast play into the long, and Tessus is right out there.
Yeah. There's no real weapons on the MOUZ side, so they are getting chewed up. Parting fadeaway kill from Torshi as he escapes. Puts Nico down for the minute. Let's see what Spinks and Jimfat can do. But again, with the weapons here, it's so unlikely. And I think Falcons are going to be aware that there is at least a chance. You could find a rare timing, maybe. But everything is going according to the plan at the moment. That 1v1, it's one of those rounds where it's hard to come back all of a sudden. There's the rare timing that we were talking about. And a missed shot. But the B-bomb side is empty, so regardless what happens here, they can just make a run for it. kind of annoying if they give up too many weapons to the CT side, because that's obviously the first step for any team to sort of make a recovery here. Maybe they can steal some weapons away.
Yeah, no kit sadly for them, so no options at all. But yeah, that's such an iconic 1v1, isn't it, in that previous round? Torzi up against Manasi.
And well, they can get close with the MP9s. I think that's fine. Just keep the AK away. There's no chance to win. They don't have the kit. It's not going to be a 10-second defuse in a 3v3. Not on the B-bomb side of Dust 2. Yeah, trying to do what they can. Make a bit more money. Make it more expensive for Falcons. I do appreciate it. Okay, that's kind of a sick spray down. And they're going to be careful now here. Spinks sticking around. Monesi will drop him as well. So they do lose the AK. Kind of a shame. I feel like that would have been nice. They have money to buy a MOUZ. Not the end of the world, but obviously you cannot buy the AK on the CT side. 6-0 in favor of Falcons. Second map is looking very strong right now. With Monesi playing well, with Nico playing well. It's such a duo to be up against.
It certainly is, and to be honest, despite the fact that we did have such a run of rounds from Falcons, those previous two, I mean, that last round, thanks to that great attack right at the end, Falcons lost every single player, so it's a full rebuy. And then the previous round, obviously, was the Manasi clutch, and they lost 4 players there as well. So MOUZ at least setting themselves up to get back in if they're able to take this round. And Torsi's back on the AWP, and it's just full util. This is the best chance for MOUZ right now.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's a good way probably to frame any potential for a comeback here. It will typically start with Falcons running out of money. Nico laughing. For Nico to see Monesi at his side again, I mean, that's... Many people kind of knew that was going to happen eventually. No shot onto Brolan. That would have been kind of a horrific way to start the round for MOUZ. The dream of the comeback, I think it has to start right. It has to be in this round. They're going to blow open the smoke, see if they're ready. Torshi's got the AWP on the other side. So yeah, again, straight fight down the middle. Monesi is so close. It'll be Nico, his partner in crime, as they double up to take down Torshi. A flash in to set it up. And Monesi throws the flash. They actually are a tag team. First he wounds the enemy AWP, Nico kills him. Then he gets flashed in, and Nico does the rest. Monesi's henchman here in the middle. Exertion is finally sick of it. And we'll take them both down.
That's a big moment there from Exertion. They seemed unstoppable. But now the round calms down. Falcons have to assess their options, holding for now to see if there's another move, and there certainly is. MOUZ moving through the doors. There is a player lower, and it's going to be Tessus. Exertion had no idea, and... Oh, okay, we get the trade coming through from Brolan. Great timing, capitalizing off of that, but 40 seconds for the 2v2 here for Falcons to decide where to go.
I mean... There's 2 Danes left. What's awkward is the fact that the bomb is in middle on Tessus, right? If Megas had it, it would be different. But Brolan, he's well aware that something could be coming. 27 seconds. I actually think this move for Brolan is super smart. Let's see if he gets the timing down right, but that is the bomb on Tessus. If Brolan wins this fight now, the round is officially over. I think Megas is way too far away to do anything with. Oh, he makes the noise as well, and Tessus knows. He slipped the net. This is absurd. He's going to be running into it. They will be able to get the bomb plant here, but he can't really break for it. He has to make a straight run out long to get spot, and Megas, he doesn't go for the fight. He wants to stay alive here. Brolan actually took almost no damage on that one. So this round is somehow still on.
Brolan going for the frag. The confidence there is going to work out for him. Tessus desperately low against 2 players. Over the top, and he finds the headshot, but he's opened to Brolan. And that's going to be MOUZ with a much-needed round. But they only survive with 1 player, so that's going to feel very stressful going into the following one.
Crazy close round. That long 1v1 in the middle with Brolan and Tessus not even seeing each other, but towards the end hearing each other. It says something about, you know, how much information matters. Nobody wants to move. Nobody wants to give away even a footstep there. Okay. Well, you said it already, Dan. They were going to be, a little bit beat up on the money on the Falcons side. They have enough to make this really interesting, but after this next round, they will be running out. So the question is if MOUZ can pick up this one and start the comeback ever so slowly here. I think it's all on this round. I think the entire map more or less pivots on this one. Flash to come out. Nico just rushing the corner and pushing Brolan back in the sight. They're pretty much all out here. Typically, when you've got 5 players, you actually just don't want to walk away. You just stay here. They've got 2 smokes for the cross, and that's really important because it means they can throw one and maybe go back and do it again. Oh, they are very hesitant.
Yeah. They're looking for the mid-space take from MOUZ. Not doing it, though. MOUZ holding position. m0NESY glass cannon on the AWP here. I feel like m0NESY of the 2 AWPers has the aura with him so far in this Dust 2 game. And indeed, Anders, the unusual turn from them all the way through T-spawn is m0NESY. He's announcing his position here and keeping attention on this long position.
Can you get the flick on Torshi? I feel like eventually Torshi's going to get restless. You can see flick is close.
Oh my.
And here comes the crossing smoke, and he's really trying to sell it here, honestly. The fact that he lives and can now try and do something here, he could just pulled everyone away. It's just Jim Fan at the back of the B bomb side, and it's due to m0NESY. He's sold it over on the other side. 20 bullets here. They do line up for him, and it's a lot of damage. But now catching the cross, any rotation through here is going to be dangerous. They want to hunt down m0NESY, but look how smart he is. This is something that we mentioned earlier on Nuke. Sometimes not fighting is such a better choice. Now they are wasting their time. Oh my God. Say it isn't so.
Outrageous.
How could that be? I actually need to see the replay. He hardly saw anything. By the way, he's not even fighting. He's fighting Exertion, who's pushing him down at the same time. This is why the Falcons wanted m0NESY. This is why they had to get him on the team. He is a once-in-a-generation talent. Back for more. Takes down Exertion and pulls the rug up from under MOUZ. It's 7-1 in favor of Falcons here. A devastating shot that cuts down the middle of the map.
You can see he's so happy with that one. What a performance. My God, m0NESY, I mean, truly special. And the thing is that you need to see Torsi on the other end able to be that counterbalance. But to counterbalance a player like m0NESY is certainly no small feat.
Yeah, they feel it as well on the coast ring. I can't really blame them. You see, Tessus is laughing in the kind of way that you laugh when you watch somebody do something like that and you're just like, I'm so glad he's on my side. I'm just so glad he's on my side.
It's kind of comical sometimes how good players can be, and that's definitely a moment there from m0NESY. Wow, okay, well, we're back into this one, and we'll see if MOUZ are able to recover from the earthquake that is m0NESY in that previous round.
There's been really no real CT aggression, only in rounds where they've had MP9s and limited weapons. But in the few buy rounds that MOUZ have actually had, there aren't a lot of opportunities for them to push and do like they're doing again here up at dark. It's nice. I don't blame them, but you would love to see it in rounds where they had more to fight with, where they had more of a setup and actually had the rifles to back it up, because right now, once Falcons get into position, they're doing a really good job at clearing out the position. Well, actually, saying that, they completely betray me by failing the Molotov.
I do like the Falcons have shown when they get this long take, like you said, the expectation is to just hold and then eventually push into the site. But they've shown that, hey, sometimes we're going to rotate all the way back. We get a glass cannon from Torsi. Oh, no, not a glass cannon, but the singular AWP.
Yeah, that's all he's looking for right now. Oh, that's a shame. There was 3 HEs on MOUZ. One of them was an Exertion. There was just we don't ever really, it's rare on Dust 2 that we get to see, grenade stacks working out. They've run the same strategy as the last round, but this time they've left Magus here instead of m0NESY. And MOUZ are getting curious for what is lurking down along. It's one Dane with an AK. Too much to handle, and Tess's, the other Dane on the server, going to be crouching in and taking down Torshi. It's pretty sick. With Jim Fat, not much he could do on the other side of the map, unfortunately. 8-1. Falcons are leaving no room for MOUZ to enjoy Dust 2.
I love the strategical look from Team Falcons, even in these rounds where, in theory, they would still have a big advantage to kind of just barrel all together. And in theory also, one of the reasons why teams tend to do that is because you have less potential openings. There's less ways for a round to go wrong. And against the best players in the world, you would like to favor that kind of approach, but Falcons create this situation where we're going to show you something, you're going to set up something, and now we're going to start introducing a lot of rogue elements, and they can then essentially dismantle Torzy's the entire play that could be revolving around Torzy gets dismantled, and everyone's caught out of position suddenly. So it makes MOUZ just look really, really in bad shape in those situations.
I think it definitely is it's sort of an out of meta thing to go long and go back the way that they are. But it could also just be a reflection of the fact that, again, MOUZ aren't pushing up so much. So there's nothing much to fear for Falcons to actually fall back in some of those rounds.
Fair point.
Oh, MOUZ actually goes down. So an opening kill, 8 for the very best they could do right now on the CT side. And that is not great. But if they can get there, I'm not going to count them out yet, MOUZ. Real tough at the moment for them, though. Flash around the corner, not at all efficient. It's going to be Nico dead next. 5 versus 3. It's right there for the taking.
I do love the gamble to just say, hey, we're going to just really defend Cat here, give up long after the opening pick. And now they reposition again, back into more passive positions. So good fundamentals here from MOUZ off of the advantage. 5 versus 3. It's really on to Falcons to make something happen at this point. And MOUZ rest on their laurels.
They're going to try and make that happen, I think, by pushing Cat and hoping that Tessus can catch some kills in the middle. Either that or they will just execute and rotate back with Tessus. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tessus is sort of the lurking player that's going to set up a couple of shots. There was one attempt. He is out here, but the bomb's on the other side. So Tessus is on his own, just a lone ranger out there. m0NESY. Yeah, he wanted to run back to catch up with Tessus. Unfortunately, he's dead before he can even get there. So round is secured here. MOUZ, they're going to get rid of one last player, dropping m0NESY finally. He's been so hard to take down.
Yeah, great temerity there from MOUZ as a whole. Off the opening pick, doubling down on Cat. Torzy gets that second defensive kill for the round for the 5v3. Just playing really focused here. Not fazed by how difficult the opening rounds have been on this game of Dust 2, and also protecting their economy, not allowing m0NESY to go crazy. So another opening here where MOUZ favor, making very sure that they have long under control.
Awkward incendiary. Yeah. Probably makes no actual difference in the round, but in just in case if there had been a rush, it would have been weird. Easy shot right there. Just as the smoke goes down. And catching Torshi in the middle so early on here. We'll see. They just need one more piece of the puzzle, really. You know, you got a little bit of information from finding that shot. If you get any sense that there might be sort of a, double stack on the A bomb side of it, you can guess that there's probably going to be one of the B bomb side here. So just one more bit of information, but they're not going to wait for it. They will just straight execute here. Quick decision being made by Falcons to overwhelm the defense on A, and so far so good. They're getting close. Unfortunately, they do burn Tess's, their own Molotov. Nico trying to make up for it, gets the headshot. They know that Spinks is here somewhere in the smoke, and it's m0NESY to find him. 13 kills, Nico on 12, and Jimmy walking in from the B bomb side. He couldn't even get there in time. It was such a quick call from Falcons once they got to the catwalk to just try and go for it.
Yeah, and it was an ideal scenario for MOUZ, given that they lost a player early. Usually, once teams will reset as the Ts when they get the 5v4, because the CTs are then forced, because it's so hard to push for info, they're forced to play defensively, and then 2 will be on B, and then 1 will be on A, and then 1 will be on the long position. So then if you just hit Cat, you're like a 5v1 in those spots. MOUZ had an extra player on the site, so that's why it was kind of ideal for MOUZ, but even still, the execute was so strong from Falcons. That's all that JimFat can do to keep this AWP online.
Yeah, that's his mission right now. And again, those kind of executes, you're right. Even if you have a lot of people there, there's so much utility on Falcons as well that it is really, really hard to stay alive. 9-2, round number 12, the last of the half. Falcons dangerously close now to reaching the grand final here at Blast Rivals. They've been playing very well once again in this tournament. It's just such a long time for this project to actually do anything at all, but now that it's working, I mean, they look instantly very, very lethal. glad we get to see them tested once again.
More mid-emphasis here from MOUZ. A 2-1-2 setup. Not as much long control as we have seen early from MOUZ. And that's a good adjustment because Falcons, after showing it early and conditioning it, have since been playing more towards mid and B in the early portion. You can just see it happening when MOUZ on the other end of that scope.
Feels so risky. Long spray there for Nico, but that doesn't really matter. He gets the kill on the Spinks, who is 1 in 10 at the end of the half. Tough break for him. Jim Fat's going to go down. It's Tessus on that lurk smoke, pushing his way out. They're having way too much fun, Falcons. They're doing whatever they want, and why not? They've got such a giant lead. Bomb going to be planted. It's MOUZ making his way onto the site, while Magisk is just, again, playing his own little game, looking to shoot the captain of MOUZ in the back at some point sooner rather than later. Oh, he's just around the corner. Still, retake is very unlikely. Roland, he's actually so smart. What a rare position to check at that point in the round. I'm impressed. Might not make a difference, though. MOUZ to get the last one, and it will be a 10-2 finish at the end of the first half in favor of Falcons. Second half is coming up. Falcons 3 rounds away from stepping foot in the grand final here at Blast Rivals 2025. They won on Nuke. It was in overtime, but now on Dust 2, it's a different question. They are so fired up. MOUZ playing well, Nico's playing well, and everybody else on Falcons is pretty much hitting shots at the moment. So for MOUZ to make a comeback here, to claim this map back in their favor, it would have to be a miracle. They're going to start with a bit of a push towards the bomb site. Kixan is actually already here to receive them, and he goes straight down. Surely they won't slow down. That's just the smoke. I'm shocked that they don't try and run through, but they might have thought it was a trap.
Yes, I think that's exactly right. When you're going aggressive there, you do have to worry, is it a bait? Is it all bait? And teams do like to rush the B site quite a lot. And so MOUZ sort of respecting that, but maybe that's also a confidence thing, Anders. You know, if not just going for it, you know, I wonder if Team Falcons in that same spot would have just run it down because of the confidence. But with that said, MOUZ looking for something, but it's almost just given Falcons more time to get better position.
Is he going to flash into from the middle, Nico? They have a couple of interesting flashes here, but none of them are going to be used at the start of the engagement. USP clicks coming out of it. Spinks, he's only got 1 kill in the first half, and he's not going to get more here. m0NESY, execution shot to the back of the head as Magisk is ducked down, shooting above the barrels now. He's got some teammates with him, though. At the very least, Nico is here. A jump on over, and a nice shot. Exertion takes him down. Tess is still running, trying to get onto it. It's just m0NESY left 1 versus 3, and this too much to handle. Jimfan and Brolan getting them back into the game here with a 3rd round, and kind of, I mean, nothing too special. Just MOUZ taking a long, slow break in the middle of the round, and then re-engaging the B-bomb site.
It's actually quite wild when you think about it, because, I mean, MOUZ couldn't know this, obviously. If they had just run through the smoke, there was just one guy on the site. But they reset and allowed all the Falcons to rotate, the double up on the site, have super fast rotations, and then we're like, oh, now we'll go in. But they still won, so.
It's the end of the day, you know, that's all that matters. But they did, in a way, they did, you're right. They did make it harder for themselves. So that's just how it is. Double scout, 3 deagles. I cannot imagine the stress of being up against Nico's deagle and m0NESY scout, and it's not fun, is it?
Very true, yeah. You really want to get onto a bomb plant, and then it sort of starts to work some of those danger points out of the equation. So you can just defend the timer of the bomb, but getting there is the hard part.
So another thing here where they have to decide if they want to run for the smoke, right? Because Kixan has one, so assuming they just don't get the immediate kill, that smoke is going to go up, and then there's more decisions to be made from MOUZ right after that. As Magisk all the way in the back, flash on out, straight headshot. It doesn't start well, but that is very well played. Smoke is down, and they do want to run through into the deagle. It's an absolute slaughter. 2 kills, could have easily been more if he had a couple of more bullets. He tried to pick up the weapon at the same time. 2 versus 3, and why not go for it here, Falcons? It's probably a spot in the grand finals if you win this round and steal it away from MOUZ at the start of it. And you don't have that much to lose. Of course, you could save the deagles and the scout into the next round, but you must feel like they're a bit weak right now. They haven't even warmed up into the Dust 2 game at all, so why not try and take it away from them? Not going well at the start of the retake. m0NESY, he's going to get dropped as well. So they do hold on, MOUZ, but a real reality check for them.
Yeah, really, really nice hold. And 4 to 10, so it's a long road back, but a road that looks possible, given the opening 2. That was a nice opening, and these 2 deagle kills, really, really scary indeed. But yeah, once you get the bomb down, it does certainly become a much different game.
The pain of watching Counter-Strike.
Hold that thought. Nico's up mid. He wants that deagle headshot, but it is Spinks to get it. And that's good on Spinks, but the assault might not end there because m0NESY's picked up the deagle. He wants to go.
Okay. Somehow always more impressive when you hit the second shot with the deagle, I feel like. This Kixan getting dropped right after Tess's. Okay, they are holding on, right? They're at least refragging these kills. For MOUZ, every time I get nervous. m0NESY quickly gotten rid of. They know where Magisk is. Should not be a problem. He doesn't have any armor here, so would almost love it if he just stuck around to try and do a little bit more, to try and get a kill, get a little bit more money on board. He's gonna escape and reposition. 10-5. I mean, You already said it, but it is a doable comeback. It's not over yet.
Yeah, and every single kill here from Falcons onto MOUZ is so painful because it means that MOUZ's economy is getting absolutely brutalized whilst they're winning these rounds. And as you say, like the repositioning could potentially be quite nice here for Majors. Can he find an extra? Just even one more kill would be really painful.
And he could just try and charge onto the site, really, and make the drop down as soon as, you know, they're a little bit closer. Yeah, so he is going to try and find the timing. Well, MOUZ knew. Magisk had an idea of what to do then. Just didn't really work out in his favor. 10-5. First big test is going to be coming up. m0NESY picking up the AWP, obviously. And rifles on the rest of Falcons here. If they lose this round, though, Dan, I mean, it does get kind of interesting. That's a double AWP setup as well. Magisk holding the other AWP.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is it every rifler also wants to be an AWPer?
All right, well, it's an opening that's very aggressive for long for both teams here. Very fast engagement straight through the doors and into NiKo. The flash from m0NESY providing quite the assist, and NiKo is just chunking them down, and out of the smoke comes m0NESY with the AWP. The NiKo m0NESY combo is unbeatable here on Dust 2.
Yeah, so is that communication. m0NESY only knows to pull out the USP because he'd already got the call that Spinks was low from NiKo, so they're just so quick. There's really no time delay in calling out that information. m0NESY shuts it down at the end. 3 kills. He's up to 19 in total. And they absolutely decimate MOUZ trying to get out that long position. Magisk didn't even get to use his AWP.
True, and they don't know about it.
For the longest time, Dupree, who's on the desk now, obviously with us, which I'm really happy about, he said he wanted to be an AWPer with Device on the team. For a while, we called him AW Peter, you know. So it's a real thing. He insists. He probably would still insist. If we asked him on the desk, he'd probably still say he could have done it.
On this map, it's pretty legit. And, okay, we're going to see a setup change coming through from Falcons. Knowing that they probably scared MOUZ off of any fast long takes, potentially, Falcons are going to be reorienting m0NESY into the mid. And MOUZ with just a hold across the map.
They could have saved both AWPs, but they decide for the AK on NiKo instead. That is a big indication for the kind of decision-making that's being made. They said, well, you know what? Magisk with an AWP is fun. NiKo with an AK. It's really hard to argue with, isn't it, though?
I can't argue with it. I'm totally stumped on that one. I mean, NiKo, he's essentially playing a spot which is great for an AWP as well at the moment. Right. Just the jiggle here at the top of Cat on the box. And
this is, so he's expecting that they will Molotov him off this position, and then he can just throw his own incendiary, and it's sort of a stalemate. If they peek him instead, then obviously there is an opportunity. Oh, never mind. He's actually sick of waiting for them. He wants to go and find them. The timing is so surreal. That could have been a double. He peeks into it. It is a scout on the other side, but still pretty bold. Smoke and a flash, and somehow Tessus still gets away with it. He is down to 1 health. How does he live through? That was such a clumsy fight in many ways from Tessus. m0NESY flicking left and right. He's just murdered 3 of them before we could even get through the sentence. 22 kills. How is he doing that? Why are they laughing about it?
Honestly, it's so funny because when you look at NiKo going for the extra kill, you know, NiKo's obviously a superstar. He's confident, but I think he knows that, you know, if he dies there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we, you know, I secure the 5v4. m0NESY's on the side with an AWP. It's fine.
What a demoralizing experience, just running into this guy. I bet a lot of the opponents of Falcons would have wished that there would have been more of a, you know, ramp-up moment. Maybe m0NESY doesn't feel comfortable. Maybe he doesn't understand the system. He's playing with Sonic now, you know. You'll have
the copium.
Yeah, pure copium. Like, that's how I would be feeling. And instead, it's just pure plug and play here. m0NESY. Pure artwork on Dust 2. 12-5. They are a round away from the grand final.
Incredible stuff. And keeping the same formation on the setup for the CT side Falcons as the previous round. m0NESY in that mid spot. Guardian of the doors. Looking over Catwalk. And MOUZ also with the same formation. Holding any upper pushes. Holding any shenanigans outside long. But they don't have much to work with here. Might be looking to try to flash in through the doors potentially. If they could burst onto a lone player, that'd be great. But m0NESY's, he's gone.
Yeah, he's already relocated. So B splits. Spinks, the lone player coming up out of the other side. Deep grenade. Does he see anything over? He kind of doesn't. Nico takes some damage there. Jimmy goes down. Meg is still inside of the site. And the Tech9s, that is what they're good for, though. You stay mobile. You've got enough bullets to pretty much keep the fight going forever. Bomb plant, and instantly they pull the plug here for Falcons. It's such a long time before these rounds start to matter. Right now, Falcons, they don't care about losing this round. It's just not very interesting to them. They have such a big buffer before they can start to panic.
And what kind of came to this conclusion is an interesting one, because for Falcons, you know, they understand the buy situation, so they kind of understand kind of what MOUZ want to do and where the danger is for them. So after that initial presence, they completely void everything, play mega passive, so that they can have the range advantage against those pistols. But at the same time, you give up space. So that's kind of the trade-off, and it can result in a round like this. And I feel like you can't say that Falcons played it incorrectly, and you can't say that, and obviously MOUZ played it also correctly. So it's just one of those rounds in that way.
It'll happen, and it maybe especially on Dust 2, because it is quite common that you're going to have less of a defense over at the B side, and if the B splits roll in when that's the case, yeah, you're right. Sometimes a bit of a handshake, you walk away. 6-round deficit. What do they got for us, MOUZ? I would so love to see a comeback into overtime. It would be so sick if they could pull it off, but at a minimum, they need Spinks to start to wake up. He had 1 kill in the entire first half. He's up to 5 now. They maybe need Torshi as well, who really got shut down. Obviously, m0NESY just showing up on a whole different level.
I totally agree. Corsi's such a confident and creative player that has such a high skill ceiling on his mechanics, can find so much value out of very, very crazy spots. And so it would be great to see that confidence coming in on him. But as you say, that 6-12 scoreline, it is hard to be staring that one down. And we get another change here for the Falcons on the defense. More emphasis around long, perhaps expecting a long opening, but it's not to be. MOUZ with the same opening as before.
Default opening, MOUZ just testing the early part of the map. They really want to make sure that Falcons aren't pushed up into any of these forward locations, which is totally fine. It's good to be safe. Don't lose to an awkward MP9 that's hiding around a box somewhere. It's just not worth it.
A lot of teams who are in Falcons' position will play disrespect rounds like that. So that just shows you the mental state for MOUZ, how they have to be paranoid of everything.
They clear this out. It's going to be another B split. We know that because of where the bomb is. Falcons know it too. Or at least they've guessed it. This is so tough to clear Nico's on the scaffolding there. It's going to be Megas again with the AWP. That in itself would be a bit of a surprise, but if he's here, you're probably not expecting Nico to also be in this side of the map, because you know Kicksan's the other B player, so they're going to be coming through on the other side though. So maybe they can make their way through. Timing is awkward right now. It's Exertion sneaking up the middle. They blow open the smoke to start with. Kicksan sits down and sprays very nearly the triple. Megas put under some pressure. Nico has already taken care of middle, and Megas, he can wield the AWP. A flick to bring Torshi low, and a 1 versus 3 is m0NESY. How fitting. The final shot to send Falcons right into the grand final.
Finals fury continues for Falcons. The test of MOUZ, not enough. They overcome with ease and now move on. Another grand finals for the Falcons.
We got a new #1 contender in the world now. It's official. Twice in a row, Falcons have bested MOUZ in a critical semifinals matchup. They are now your new #2 team in the world.
So you're ruling out Spirit already?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Spirit has to do a little bit more work. You know what I mean? They've been sitting out. They haven't been playing some tournaments. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Dust isn't on the desk for the next match, so he's just trying to get those takes out early.
Yeah.
But let's focus in on what we've just seen here. Falcons looking phenomenal here, Peter. This is a really strong map.
I think they, as I mentioned in the pregame, they're just playing basic Counter-Strike on the 2, but they just do it so well. They have a playbook that doesn't have to revolve about doing crazy things. They just do things really ordinarily. And when things just start rolling for them, they are just really good at adapting and making these small adjustments where it could be that they've been abusing A a little bit, then they just decide to leave m0NESY on A. He does a little bit of a fake, but they actually go 4 guys back to the B tunnels, It's these small adjustments that just keeps MOUZ guessing all the time, and if they don't have the information, it can be hard to play around. And obviously it doesn't help that m0NESY is playing well, so yeah.
He is playing pretty dang well, isn't he?
No.
The Flash
no?
himself is here.
Not at all? Not at all? That map was just, what was that? Just a warm-up?
No, I'm not in good form. It's just a game. I don't know.
He's claiming to
Just
battle
a
for
game, but you're in a New Jersey. You've got back-to-back grand finals. That's got to feel pretty damn good.
Yes, it feels good. It feels good to just go in playoffs and just win teams. So I'm in grand final again. Yeah, waiting for Vitality to Spirit to finish. Let's see. Very good tournament. Very good tournament.
Were you surprised how fast success has come since you joined this team? I mean, this is only your second tournament. You're in your second grand final. Did you anticipate that it would be this fast?
To be honest, no, I didn't really expect that we can go to grand final in IM Melbourne because of our preparation. Like, we didn't have too much time to prepare, you know. It's like I joined the team and we had like, what, few days of practice and we insta grand final. So, yeah, I didn't really expect, but we also need some time as well, you know. Sometimes we can struggle, as yesterday against Spirit on the first map. We can struggle sometimes like this, but we have very good ability of bouncing back, you know, like we trust each other that we can do comeback, and we always we never give up.
Working with Sonic is something that you've wanted to do ever since you were back in Navi Junior, and now you actually have him as a coach. You know, obviously he's been coaching me for a long time as well.
Yes.
Do you think that Sonic can help you to become even better iteration of yourself? Like, do you think he can teach you a thing and actually bring something that will make you more great than you already are?
I think yes. I mean, if I would play good individually, I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm not in very good shape right now, but if I'm gonna play very good individually, and he's gonna, I would say, share his experience and give me experience with how to rotate better, how to be better at macro, understanding in the game, then yeah, I think I would become a better player.
What's it like working with Kixen? I mean, you've worked under several different in-game leaders now that you've stepped up to the Tier 1 competition. What has Kixen been like as an IGL so far for you?
No, obviously every IGL is, I would say, different.
Sure.
Like, yeah, like everyone has different mentality and approach for the game. And I mean, like I would say I don't know how to explain, but he has different style of, for example, than Snacks. Like he likes to have more structure, I would say, around the map, like to take it more slow, to change some pace sometimes. And I mean, it works and it's good. I don't know, but it's hard for me to answer as well. Like, he just calls very good. He feels very confident, and like the last word is always behind him, you know. Like, yeah, like for him, I would say.
Are you looking for revenge against Vitality if they make it, or do you rather want to face Spirit again?
I don't care. No, to be honest, let's see. Maybe Spirit will beat Vitality. Maybe Vitality will beat Spirit. But I think it's going to be a very interesting game to watch. And I think I would enjoy play and against the Spirit and against Vitality. So for me, I would say, doesn't really matter. But I don't need this revenge, you know. I just want to win the tournament.
I feel like that's a classic Monacy answer. Just want to, log in, have a good time, win the tournament. It is a good answer indeed. That's why it's a classic. I've got one more question, and then we'll let you go.
Yes.
You talked about, how quickly you went into the game in IM Melbourne, how little practice you've actually had at this point. Have you gotten some more reps to get the playbook down, or is this still just trial by fire, learning by officials?
No, obviously. I mean, I would say, good memory. I mean, I have not bad memory. So every time we play official matches, and we also played some few practices also in Australia before. I can remember strats, of course. I don't forget them like this, because I want to remember everything, every strat, every nade, every utility, piece of utility. So, I mean, sometimes I just ask Damian Kixen to remind me at the beginning of freeze time if I don't remember. So let's say if I'm gonna tell him please repeat for me, he will repeat for me, no problem. But I feel all right.
But are you still just scratching the surface of what you can do in this team?
What means scratching? Wait, what?
Are you just getting started? Is there so much more that you're going to be able to bring to this team?
I think so, yes. I don't think it's our... I think we can do better, in a lot of moments, in clutch situations, in post plans. Also, we can just do better because I haven't too much practice as well, together. So, for example, we can have more practice to practice defaults, to practice the way we ping pong of each other, bounce off each other. So
sure.
Yeah, we just need more time as well. Yeah, I don't think it's our good level right now, but we play good.
You play damn good. If this is the start, I can't wait to see the finished product. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the win.
No
can't
problem.
Wait to see you in the final, man.
No problem, guys. See you.
It is actually so damn scary that is the level of answer we're getting from him, that he doesn't feel like he's at his best level. He doesn't feel like they've had enough practice yet, and they're still already this damn good. that's scary.
Both in like the individual aspect, but also as a team.
Exactly.
Right?
This is like classic Ilya. This new generation of Counter-Strike players that are all so very humble and then absolutely rip your heads off your shoulders as soon as they're in the server.
Yeah, they're the online kids that you don't want to face, right?
It's terrifying, man. Terrifying. It's got to have been terrifying for you as well. Your boys obviously maybe got a case of the scaries on this one.
Yeah, I think Falcons played great today. I think for us, we're still just losing to ourselves a little bit. Now we have 2 weeks to work on it, go home, process, see what level we can get to in Dallas, and then go for it at the major.
And I think it's clear to see that, you know, you were very competitive on Nuke, and it seemed like you had a good game plan. I still feel like there was a little bit of stubbornness in terms of rotating to the lower bombs, and I feel like the pace change, they made you doubt yourself a little bit, and you actually had the game in the bush, lost a lot of like force buy rounds. Do you think that you have like a little bit of an issue in your map pool as of right now? Do you think that you are feeling a little bit unconfident in how you want to approach the vetoes, or what's the take on this one?
I think every team has some shortcomings in their map pool. For us, for example, Dust 2 a little bit. Also at times, Train's not the best. Inferno's a little bit shaky. I think it's like that for every team except your Vitality. Yeah, you mentioned the enter ecos. Yeah, those were tough. Yeah. And the nuke thing going down B, you're right. It was also stressful and chaotic on TeamSpeak.
Makes sense.
There's multiple rounds where we kill Nico. And if you kill Nico, I really doubt there's anyone in front of him. Sure, they could play default with us numbers out there. But I think we lost a little bit track of where the enemy team is going.
Yeah, I think that's also like the take that I could feel like whenever you killed him outside. You had a great success doing that. You know, multiple times you were feeling like, okay, Nico has no impact at all. You keep getting the kills, but it's like, you know, the rest of the team would actually go where you did not expect it, and then you would end up in a situation, regardless of having the advantage, that you came into a tough post plant.
Yeah.
I have two broader strokes questions, if you don't mind. So the first one just being, obviously, there's just been this big pivot with Brolin becoming the IGL of the team, and obviously your team had a load of success pretty immediately, you know, after you got him and Sphinx on board. What has it been like for you as a coach, kind of training up a new in-game leader, and what's that system been like building together?
It's a good question. I think Brolin brings a lot of the old school IGL qualities already. He's a super hard worker. He's constantly watching teams preparing, also something he did when he was playing himself. So in terms of bringing new material to the board, watching other teams, staying a little bit ahead of the meta, I think he's really easy to work with. It's also not the first time I work with someone who's new to IGLing. I did it also with Shuhei, because he was just a playmaker when I first met him, right? And how do we create a system together? How do you work on leadership? How do you work on calling and these things?
So the next question I had to ask is this, for the longest time, it seemed like Vitality was your only challenger these last few tournaments you played, but now Falcons has started to kind of creep up. Are you kind of starting to be a little bit more aware of the competition? Is that starting to kind of make the team second guess themselves a little bit, or is the team still pretty confident that they're on the right path?
I think we're on a good trajectory, but I think also Falcons is. And in this picture, you don't mention Spirit, but I think they're also right up there.
Sure.
All of these teams can be competitive. I think a lot of teams right now can be competitive. There's maybe 4 you put up in the conversation right now. I don't think it makes us more nervous. I think, if anything, it puts us on a tension edge where we need to be our sharpest.
And also, like you mentioned, that you feel like you lose yourself a little bit in the process, and you start maybe losing the rounds you should. Is it because of the communication, or is it because people start lacking, like, you know, confidence? Because I remember that you talked about in Melbourne that you felt that you played scared, you gave them too much space, you didn't actually want to, like, you felt scared going for the plays. I felt like you went for plays today. It looked like you were actually trying to do things and try not to, like, be afraid of losing. What is happening inside, like, teams? If you can share a little bit, like, what happens when things start going a little bit south?
We're still a young team, right? And suddenly you start talking past each other. Suddenly communication is left up in the air. Someone says, hey guys, they can be down B. You don't direct the info to the guy that needs to hear it.
Right.
No one gives confirmation. It's little things like this. And for example, Nico not getting called out that they're probably not down B in this moment. And this we're still missing in this regard, yeah.
One question I wanted to ask as well, to kind of end this on a positive, is that we have seen, I mean, you guys have a lot of talent, we know that, right? And I think we have seen Xerxin and you know, Torzy really even step up higher than they even were last year. Is this just a factor of getting more reps, or has there been like a conscious thing kind of going on behind the scenes to help, you know, fuel them and let them be even better players than they were last year?
I'm happy you highlight the talent of the team. I think there's a lot of it. Behind the scenes, I think Andreas and also our sports psychologist Ole do a ton of work. But I gotta give it to Dorian and Sertian, since you Dorian and Adam, Sertian and Torshi, since you highlight those two. I think they're in a good headspace for development. They're constantly looking for improvements. Anytime there's any sort of feedback, they're trying out new things. If it's going into the game, if it's pre-game, if it's post-game, constantly developing and looking for an edge. So I think it's more on those two in general. First of all, you need to be coachable. And I think also we have people around who do a huge amount of job or good work.
Well, I will let you go at this point. One last question before you do. It's eyes towards the major. It's eyes towards the future. If you had to distill the priority for the team down into one sentence, one thought here, what's the focus for MOUZ leaving Rivals?
Keep building and win the major.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you for joining us. That's a nice message to send to the troops. We are going to talk about our next matchup. You can pop those headphones off and walk on away. We won't keep you anymore. Your time is valuable. As always, thank you for joining us, Cyclone. How about that? MOUZ, they're going to keep building. They're going to win the major?
That was a very insightful interview. I feel like Cyclone really was very transparent about, the leadership structure of the team, the development of the team, the things that they're focused on, the things that they already see the discrepancies that we see. Like, he even mentioned it in his answer there that, like, yeah, we know our Dust 2 has its issues. We know our Inferno, has some problems. We know that our Train could be better. So they're very aware, I think, of like what is going wrong. And then that's the half the battle, though. Is fixing it is going to be the next thing. And they're going to have a couple of weeks to do it. So we'll see how it goes.
Super humble interview. Like, I think, as you mentioned, he gives a lot of insight to what he have, and he seems to be understanding, like, the players that he have, that they're still a young team. They know that they have the talent. He's talking about how Exertion and Torch is capable of wanting to, like, keep learning and just suck things to themselves. He praises everyone on the team, and he recognizes that, yeah, sure, there's issues, but we're still moving in the right direction. Sure, they've lost twice to Falcons now, and maybe obviously don't get the chance to fight off against Vitality once more. But I don't get the feeling that they are in a position where they don't know where to go. Like, they know that they have their issues and things to work on, but it's not like we get this warning sign that, oh, where are we going? What is the direction we're heading into right now? It still feels confident regardless.
It does. It does. Now, over on the Falcon side of things, they've got to be feeling damn good, right? This experiment of bringing in m0NESY right after winning, it's not as much of an experiment. He's kind of a known factor, and that factor has been the X factor. They've been incredible.
Yeah, there was no hypothesis to be found there. It's a law already. m0NESY is just that guy. And I think it helps that, when you are bringing in a new player, the Opera is probably one of the easier ones to phase in. There is going to be some individual freedom given to him, maybe to go for picks or what he likes to do. But also it's more about just kind of, having everything else already in place. So that's really the only factor you really have to focus on is implementing him more. And if they're already this good, this fast with that little preparation with m0NESY, and that he really truly feels like he can be even better than what he's doing right now, then everyone else watch out.
And he brings so much to the table. Yeah, he brings out he brings a flashy AWP and a lot of kills, but he also brings a lot of fear factors to the enemies. They know that he could be on any corner. I've faced against m0NESY. He's super fast. And if you do the wrong pickle, like the wrong jiggle, or you don't end the pickle, imagine him doing a pickle. If you do the pickle,
he will
find you.
There's a reason why they call him the Flash.
m0NESY does not like the pickle. That I know. You know who else didn't? Nico, doing some good things as well on the server here.
I mean, like, Nico is just, he just keeps impressing everyone. Like, he's been, like, cited as probably the greatest rifle of all time. He just keeps showing it. Even the game against MOUZ, where he got picked off multiple times, yeah, that was a bit of frustration to see, but then it doesn't shook him off. He still delivers, and also, like, he just goes into the next map full bunkers and just leaves things behind. I think he's one of the greatest additions to this team, obviously, alongside m0NESY, but also to what he brings to the team in terms of the communication, the playmaking and everything. He just makes every single piece fit better together.
I mean, he's just probably one of the most versatile players I've ever seen play Counter-Strike, in the sense that he can be an entry fragger, he can be an aggressive lurker, he can support when he needs to, he can really just fulfill any role that you need him to in the server with a rifle in his hands. His deagle is nasty, and as you were already alluding to, the second voice that he provides and the insight that he has to help his in-game leader, to help his coach, to be that guy that has an extra idea if all of a sudden you're starting to feel drained. I think that is a quality that not many people have, even if they are very talented players in the server.
It feels like we're right on the precipice of a very interesting place in the Counter-Strike scene. Right now, we have this lethal pack of teams in the 2 to 4 slot.
Sure.
MOUZ, Falcons, Spirit, who are all trying to trump each other, trying to one-up each other. And then you have Vitality, who've been just able to keep themselves ahead, but we've seen the last few finals, it's gotten really damn close. And we know Spirit's about to try that as well. If Vitality waver, if they crumble at all, we could just have this melee of squads all vying for trophies.
Like, all 4 of them are playing incredible, and obviously Vitality coming into this game, they have the streak going on, they have the chance of actually submitting them as the second highest streak in Counter-Strike history, which is great for them, and a lot of people will probably go on that it just adds more pressure to them, because sure, there is a lot of pressure on Vitality, but then again, they also just came from Melbourne where they won the Grand Slam, that is also the pressure taken off their shoulders. Now they find themselves to make a new record, that is something they want to achieve, so I bet you that going into this series, Vitality is going to be super fire.
I think one of the cool things about it is this, is like Vitality was already going to be seen as impressive just because of the streak they've put together, the map pool that they have, the talent that they have, the taxes. You get my point. I'm not going to sit here and rattle off everything. But the other thing that's going to make it even better is the fact that the competition they're playing is that damn good. It's not like they're playing plumbers out there, you know, as like the whole meme goes in basketball. They're actually playing teams that are getting better and better and better and chasing them down and making finals interesting and pushing them to their limits. And iron sharpens iron. And so far, Vitality has found a way to tread water and keep their head up there and be #1. If they can keep doing that, and they really are going to go down, I'm sorry, as potentially the greatest team of all time.
It's messed up that you would say
It's
that.
still a long way to go. Come
Okay,
on.
okay,
Don't do me dirty.
Okay.
There's
No,
a
I
few
mean, you're
more.
pretty safe. I think you're pretty safe with all your majors. I think you're still fine.
You're definitely gonna have CS:GO locked down. You just might have to start kicking some monitor cords.
Is there something called Counter-Strike 2?
I think so. I've
not
heard
too
about
sure.
it.
I'm
We've
not
been
too
watching
sure.
a little bit of it recently.
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea?
Nope.
Well, I have an idea. The idea is that we've got an incredible matchup next. History potentially in the making. Vitality looking to set a record here. We'll find out if they could do it after this break.
The first thing I want you to know is me and Zayu are really bad at anything related to holding a pen.
Gonna do our best.
The first thing, what to, I think it will be easy for you.
C4.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, oh, you're such a bitch.
Ouais. Ça.
What the fuck? Karambit.
Yes, thank you. Let's go. Okay. Question mark?
No, it's like
I mean, there's only 3 days. Molotov.
yeah, perfect. I'm thinking about mine. Wait.
Yeah, but let's play.
What the fuck? Kit? I don't know.
Miniso, I don't know.
Window? I don't know. Flash maybe? Flash? Ah, it looks like a flash. Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's a smoke grenade. Hey, good job, mate.
Glock.
Yes, actually, yes. It was a Glock. What the? It's a map?
No.
It's a really long pistol then. Yes, please?
No.
No?
No, it's really simple pistol. Like it's really easy. You click on it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but
One of the best pistols ever.
Deagle? That's a Deagle?
Yes, that's a Deagle.
Yeah, we are really bad at it. Hey, already. That's a bomb site. I'm so bad at drawing. This is
It's like a B-side.
No.
Ah, yeah, I get it. Inferno, yes.
Okay. Wait.
So this is...
Short.
So Matthew, when you enter the site, you have a box to your left. Yeah, okay, I get it.
See, you get it?
Yeah. I will do one that I think will be easy for you. Here. Entrance.
Okay.
Then B.
Why are you drawing this way? Like,
Boxes really far, because I cannot do here. You have like a huge box. Here, people hide behind it. Here is the bomb site. There is a block here and a box on top of the box. A window. Mate, which B side has a window? Think.
oh, I know a lot of bomb sites with the window. Mirage?
No, B side.
Yes! There's a lot of window Mirage.
Okay. There is a fucking door here that you can enter.
Those two?
Yes, B side, that's two.
Now, you guys, before the camera were rolling, saying you love each other.
Yeah, we love each other. Why there is a reason to hate?
What about you?
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Sometimes we have to hurt those that we love. Are you gonna hurt him by ruining the streak?
Oh, not me, definitely.
Is someone on your team going to hurt him by ruining the streak?
Might be, but not me.
For you, are these just a speed bump on the road to history?
Do you think Spirit are ever going to be a speed bump? I think they've shown to be too good to just be an easy opponent, so it's never going to be that much up against good players like that.
Okay, never going to be easy, but do you guys have what it takes? Are you going to dominate? Are you going to roll right through into the history books?
I know how he's trying to catch us. Well, to be honest, I think CS2 right now is so competitive that, you know, if we have a good day and Spirit have an off day, it could be a domination, it could be the vice versa as well. They could dominate us if that applies. I think both teams, but specifically on our side, we just try to be as consistent as we can and keep pushing forward and just try our best. And I think today we have a good opportunity to play a good match and to study a lot of our mistakes and stuff, because they will punish a lot of them. So I think that's going to be just an opportunity for us to get through it.
What a reasonable media-trained ass answer. It's not what we're looking for here. You going to mess them up?
Oh, no, how? I mean, it's a great teams playing against each other in the semifinals of a great tournament. And, you know, it might be random. It might be bad, it might be good, anything can happen, because, you know, the game is like, you know, the game is... Блять.
The game is bled.
Yes. The game might be close, and, you know, the close situations is what decide the result, so anything can happen.
Well, I think we got to turn the camera off on this love fest, because we're getting towards territory I don't think we can show on Twitch, but we'll see how it is in the server, boys. When we tell the tales of great fighters, it's not just about how hard they hit, but how they endure. Vitality has endured countless challenges from many a team to put together a streak that is climbing into the ranks of the legendary. They need one more to move up that next notch on the totem pole, and it's Spirit, the team of 2024, who serve as this next opponent.
This is an opportunity for Vitality to write their names into the history books as they approach a level of greatness that not many teams have felt before them. Only Team Liquid in the past, NIP of old, were able to accomplish streaks of this magnitude, of this length. So for Vitality here, even though it's a semifinal in a studio, there's a lot more pressure that's bearing down on them.
Yeah, and it always gets more impressive as you move on. People will make the comments about NIP, but you've got Liquid in 2019, Vitality. The levels that CS has reached right now, I would have thought it was impossible to win this many games in a row, to go 23-0. You know, it feels like it should be impossible, but somehow they've made it work. It's actually kind of hard to believe.
And for a while, they were just dominating, right? And that was one thing. But that hasn't been the case anymore. We've seen them get pressed. They've talked about it. They're tired. They're fried. They've been defending this streak for a long time now, and everyone in the damn scene is watching them, is chasing that target on their backs, and yet still they've managed to get to this point. But we've got a hungry team here in Spirit, and the Dragons' jaws are dripping, ready to ruin this narrative.
I know that Magisk was jovial in nature in that face-off interview, but people like Donk, people like Chopper, Shiro, they want to take this away from Vitality. They want to win another trophy in this season. They want an opportunity to stop Vitality right in their tracks, because everybody right now is trying to prove to themselves that it's not just Vitality versus all. Other teams such as Spirit want to enter that S tier to show the world it's not a one-team game.
Yeah, Spirit have been looking at Vitality, I'm sure. They had a month off, they had the time, and this is the matchup they've been waiting for. They want to take this team down, they want to destroy them. Donk wants to cement himself as the best player of this year and not let ZywOo run away with it.
And for ZywOo, meanwhile, on the other side, defending legacy, defending history, he's a guy who's always going to be humble, who's never going to quite lean into the narrative, but you know it means a lot. You know it matters. Having watched Donk before on that stage, the world #1, you know that stings, even if ZywOo doesn't want to let it on.
Yeah, ZywOo's not going to admit, he's not going to admit that he actually cares about that, but I think it really does mean a lot to him. I think this is something that matters to everyone. You have ZywOo, this legendary player, but he was always kind of in the shadow of Simple for quite a long time. He's kind of trying to break out of that shadow, but then you have Donk right in front of him now, who people will say is the most impactful rifler. ZywOo wants to be better than that. He wants to prove he's #1.
Everybody, well, all of these players, ZywOo, the Donks, even the m0NESY to an extent lately, they don't necessarily try to feed too much into the narratives, but what they talk about is their own greatness. They want to be the best version of themselves. Well, to be the best version of themselves, they have to defeat these sorts of opponents that are before them. So this kind of matchup, it's the perfect one you would want for Vitality to try to achieve the streak. The world #1, the previous major winner of the final Shanghai Major, and then facing off against them to accomplish this goal, like this is, it's not, in a weird way, if yesterday was where you broke the streak over wildcard, it would be a little bit kind of a mixed feeling.
No.
But this is a true victory if they accomplish it.
It had to be here. It had to be with this kind of a challenge on the line. And to find out how they're feeling about it, I had to ask the man himself. I had to talk to ZywOo. Now, ZywOo, you in your career are no stranger to records and history and new acclaim. This one, the win streak, is there something special in it?
Obviously, there's always something special when you're gonna break something, but for us, we're not really thinking about like breaking the record, like liquid record or anything. We are mostly looking forward to beat Spirits. Yeah, they're screaming behind, but it's good to hear that. But we're mostly gonna be more on ourselves because we know like we struggling a bit more now because we know people are looking more about us. We are like individually, we are not in shape as well. So we are not looking for breaking the record. Like it's not in our mind, first of all. So we are just playing our A game, trying to, at least.
For you personally, I know you're saying you're excited to play Spirit after a little while. With Donk in the server, there's always that comparison, right? You're a former multi-time player of the year. He took it this time. Is there something special for you in that particular matchup?
For me, I would say it's like simple, you know. I'm not looking really like playing like only for Donk. It's like Spirits. I think he's playing good because he also have a great team around him. So for me, like it's not because he's not gonna perform like we're not gonna win the game easily. Shiro, Zantix, like all of these guys can perform. So obviously, it's like looking forward to play against a good Spirit.
How do you think it's gonna go? 2-0?
I won't say 2-0, but it just depends like how we're gonna play and how Spirit gonna play. Like I think it's gonna be kind of interesting match I say like to play because I think they can take like 2-0. We can like I said, we can lose 2-0, we can win 2-0, we can take one map. Like it's all depends how we're gonna play, I guess.
The chosen one who at every turn tries to downplay his own prophecy. But still, fate is inevitable. We've reached this moment, we've reached this crux, that challenge. The parallels between ZywOo and Donk are inescapable.
They are, as Donk achieved something similar to ZywOo, both achieving world #1 in their rookie years. But the nonchalance that usually comes across with ZywOo in those interviews wasn't quite there for me today. This was a slightly more flustered look for him. I know he tries to downplay those kinds of narratives, and usually he succeeds in making me believe it. Today, that was a scatterbrained ZywOo, okay? That was him thinking in multiple directions. It's not a 2-0. We got to think about the team. Like, I mean, it went in so many different directions, and I don't think that was because of your interview, Mike. I think that's because he is thinking about it, but nobody wants to admit it. When I saw Vitality today, the aura was clearly different. Like, they are more solemn today. They're not really, like, in the same laughing mood that they're usually in. They're focused up in a way that I don't think they usually would be for a studio semifinals.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Vitality, you're looking at a team that they wish that they didn't have to think about this streak because that's the pressure that makes games hard. That's the pressure where you can start to crumble, you can start to have problems. You want to pretend that this isn't a historic moment, but the problem is, it is. It is a historic moment, and they have to play through it.
And you know, the flip side of bringing up the fact that it's a studio grand final, or semifinal, sorry, is that when we talk about great teams doing in front of a crowd, that's one thing. But that's an extra variable. That variable drips away here. This is, in some ways, going to be more purely about what's inside the server. You can't play with the crowd here if you're Apex. You got to play with your opponents, and that's it. That is the be-all and end-all. And when we stack up Apex and Chopper in that conversation, I think removing the crowd makes this pretty interesting.
It makes it so that some of the performers for the side of Spirit who have had trouble with crowds, higher pressure moments, have knocked down Zontix a peg, for example. When it comes to Chopper versus Apex, I feel like Apex does relish the moment a little bit better. I think he actually has a better idea of how he wants to finish things. If you really look back at, say, the major grand finals in Shanghai, it was kind of off of the backs of Magix, who we now know to be one of the coolest guys on planet Earth.
Yes.
And it was down to Donk, one of the best players on planet Earth. So Chopper, on the other hand, it's not like the calls were necessarily helping Donk and Magix always. It was that they were just ascending to a level that, in many ways, I think Apex, he's gonna help the team. He's gonna call some things that are actually gonna misdirect his opponent. So IGL edge, I'd easily give it to Apex today.
Yeah, we can say Chopper was ascending. Apex is already at the height of his powers right now. He's such an incredible IGL because when I look at Chopper, I think of an IGL that he doesn't necessarily win his team a series all that often, but Apex does. You have that game against Falcons, they're down 12-6. They have a pause, they're talking about we need to fight back, and they come back, they bring that back into overtime, they win the game. That's one where Apex, I think an earlier, historically earlier Apex might have crumbled at that one. But Apex doesn't let it get to him. He's cool under pressure. He's going to make it work.
We're getting into these narratives, and it does feel like we're building ourselves up, right? The thing that has been true all year long, it just feels inescapable, is the greatness of this Vitality team. But it's so hard to sustain in Counter-Strike. It's just such an incredible achievement. And surely, again, this Spirit coming off of that month break, rested, sharp, thinking about their opponent, they've got the pieces. Can they do it?
Spirit are definitely the team that if it's not them, it would have been Falcons. Falcons couldn't actually get it done. So there's a lot of reasons for me to believe that Spirit has a great opportunity here. The favorite in my eyes still has to be Vitality. Undoubtedly, it is Vitality, but it would be more of a 60-40 favorite than something where it's just a landslide. Like the momentum is only going to be the thing that carries Vitality through this.
Yeah, I think the thing to keep in mind about Spirit is that Spirit is a team that has pushed Vitality all the way many times before, and now we have a Vitality, they're showing the cracks. They've played event after event after event, and every team is looking at them, studying them. They're taking their pen and pad out, trying to figure out what can we do to beat Vitality, and they're showing the cracks. This is a Spirit that can absolutely push them to the brink yet again.
And it is the greatness of a rival that can push you to transcend, right? The reason why these things are so impressive is not because it's a cakewalk, but because of that challenge. How will Spirit challenge? We know we've talked about Donk, we've talked about Chopper. Who else is going to elevate this team?
It's got to be the supporting cast beyond Donk too. I mean, a one-man show wouldn't get this one done. So for me, you got people like Magix, you got people like Zontix, and I feel like it's been up and down through some of their performances. For me, I've been looking at Magix lately as the guy when the luxuries are afforded to him, when he actually has guns in his hand, when he has a good position, when he isn't just running in first with no flash. I feel like he has been overperforming lightly for his position. And also, when he's anchoring bomb sites, I have loved what I've been seeing. I've been loving the fact that you can throw 2 flashes in his face, a molly underneath him, and yet he's still able to weave around the utility and find that one kill to make sure that it at least stays a 4v4 when he's traded.
Yeah, you say when the luxuries are afforded, and the reason we have to talk about that is because he's not given those luxuries. He's constantly dropping nades, dropping guns. He's giving everything to the team, and one of the players that we want to see more from is Zontix. We need to see more from Zontix. He is supposed to be, on paper, he is the 3rd star. He's the guy that, he's the ROPS of the team, is he? Or is he the Flames of the team or something? He needs to be better, but at this event especially, he's been weak. He's been a liability at times. And in this matchup, if Zontix isn't there, then Spirit, they just don't have the firepower to compete.
Is it almost a situation where because Magix has been shining, we've kind of given Zontix a little bit of a pass?
I don't know if I'd go that far. I think Zontix is he's kind of just existed, honestly. The beginning of last year, he was quite good. He fell off quite a bit through the middle of the year, and I think he's come a little bit back further. He's come a little bit higher up, but he just needs to be better.
To me, he's just been a top 35 player in the world, and he's just hovered around there, rarely exceeding that sort of expectation, but sometimes even falling lower than that.
Well, I want to know about that top 35 player, so I talked to him. Zontix. You guys, obviously, so much of the conversation is about Vitality, is about that win streak, is about the records and all of that. You've had the opportunity to play villain for some crowds before in the past. Is that something you relish? Maybe the chance to interrupt the storyline?
I think it will happen to them eventually. I don't know who will beat them. Maybe it's going to be us today. Maybe it's going to be other team tomorrow or a little bit later. But they know, and everyone knows, that they're a little bit tired. And in 2025 Counter-Strike, you cannot win that many matches in a row. It's just not possible. And it's going to be very unlikely for them to be on a 30 or 35 win streak. It's almost not possible. So yeah, today I think it mostly depends on us and not on them.
I thought that was interesting. He doesn't think they will never lose again. This is not some NIP 87-0 shenanigans. Zontix thinks that eventually they will lose. Might as well be Spirit.
Well, what happened after the 87-0, Mike?
Well, some things, and then some other things, and then some not so great things.
Some 87-1 happened. Eventually, they're going to lose, but is it today? Is it today?
I know, that's what he said.
Is
Yeah.
it today?
I feel like Zontix should just be an analyst at this point because he can never be wrong if he just never makes the statement there. I wish he showed a little bit more confidence, but that is Zontix's MO. Like, that's how he carries himself, okay? He's never going to be braggadocious. He's never going to jump in front of the camera and say, we're taking them down today. That's okay, okay? He gets it done in the server. He lets his shooting do the talking, or his body shotting, that is. So we'll see, and I guess then we'll find out, okay? We're using recursive logic here to explain the rest of this, huh?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, if we could see into the future, we would be really good in the present, but unfortunately, that's not how it happens. The only way you can get through is by enjoying the present moment. One more person that we should probably touch on. We've talked about ZywOo with the head-to-head with Donk, but he's not the one who picks up the op. It's Shiro.
Shiro has been the most slept on player, and almost, I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's almost like he's underrated all of a sudden. Like people, I know, like Dust on the last segment was saying that Torzy's a top 3 opper. So he's saying Shiro has been knocked down a peg. Like, this
That's
guy.
his implication. Somewhere out there, Yanko is twitching right now as you make this statement.
I know, no, Yanko loves that too. Yanko likes to say that Shiro's a little bit lower also. Come on, this guy, in terms of his actual impact in the server, maybe it's not as flashy as somebody like Prime Simple, but in terms of clutch ability, he was the best clutcher of last year for me, okay? The amount of 1v3s, the amount of 1v2s that were just so difficult that he put together, and even including what he has accomplished at this tournament already. He's won rifle clutches, op clutches versus Falcons. He was keeping them in it on Dust 2 multiple times. I can't believe that I have to now go on Shiro Defense Force right now because public sentiment has seemingly pushed him to the wayside.
The reason we need to be on Shiro Defense Force is because they have that game against Wildcard, 1v2, last round of the half, he saves. Last round of the half. Shiro is not someone that has the most impact of any opera out there. And I understand why people want to go and attack him for that and say, well, then you're not as good as Torzy. I understand the reason you want to do that, but the reality is aggressive, passive, doesn't matter. You kill that many people, you play that safe, you play that solid and hit your shots that much, you're a top 3 opper.
Well, we'll leave that debate to another time. We've observed the macro, we've looked around these situations, but now it's time to focus on this matchup. These two teams met recently in Lisbon. That time, as the streak implies, went Vitality's way, but Spirit, they've been thinking about that. Could they go a different direction here in the map pool?
They should go a different direction. Anubis pick was not something that I saw coming going into that series. It was supposedly a punish pick because at times people wrongly thought, that Vitality were weak on the map. Well, they've course corrected. They've shown that they're world class on it. Beating Spirit 13-6 is definitely going to make Spirit rethink that pick in my eyes. And honestly, I feel like the other 2 maps, Vu, could be in this series. I think Nuke and Mirage could be, but I think Spirit are just rethinking that pick.
Yeah, I think Nuke and Mirage are almost certainly going to be in the map pool. We may see Dust 2 in there as well. There's actually a lot of maps that this could go to. Unfortunate for Vitality, Spirit ban Inferno, though. It's their ban, and it's the one map that Vitality, it's been like a free win for their entire run. They barely let teams get to double digits. So the fact they won't be on here is part of what makes this such an incredibly close matchup.
Hey, you can just ask MOUZ about that Inferno. With that in mind, right, do we expect Spirit to play any radically different? At one point when I was talking to Zontix, one of the things that he said is, we know how Vitality play. We also know how Vitality plays against us because it's slightly different than from other teams. Do we think we could see any wrinkles thrown in from Spirit to their typical game?
I feel like it has to start with the pick. I mean, if they go for something that's a little bit more cut and dry, like a Dust 2 and Mirage, then we're going to just hopefully see Spirit try to play the best of their ability in their own game. But if they go for a wrinkle, I think a wrinkle looks like Train, Mike. I think if they go for something that's just a huge curveball like that, maybe they have some T-side strategies or way to counter, that's when this one gets interesting to me.
Well, we've set the stage, we've set the story, but now it's time to find out. It's time for the veto. Inferno banned off rip. We knew that would happen.
Ancient should come up next. That's Vitality's standard ban. And then we head into the questionable part. Train would be an incredible pick. I actually give it to you. If they pick Train, that is insane.
I feel like it's too insane. I feel like they want to go for... Okay, so they go for something a little more cut and dry. They go for the Mirage pick. Last time around, Vitality, they went for the Nuke pick versus Spirit. Even though it blew up in their faces, I don't feel like Apex is going to waver on it, and he doesn't.
Yeah, this makes sense. I mean, if we want to see Train, then I guess we want to see it in map 3. And to be honest, we have a matchup of this stature. You don't want a team going into a map they're not comfortable on. You want to see them on Mirage. You want to see them on Nuke. You want to see them on Dusty. You want to see them on the maps where they're happy to play.
Oh, okay. So we're getting Train as the third, though.
We're getting Train.
Okay.
If we go the distance, it's going to end on the newest map in the pool. It's going to end on Train. That is an appetizing prospect here, fellas.
I mean, I was talking to Thorin earlier today about how there really haven't been certified bangers on certain maps that have come out yet. Train's in that pool. If Spirit or Vitality, for that matter, are able to win or end the streak on Train, I don't see how that doesn't just change our opinions of the map instantly in terms of just enjoyment value.
Yeah, not only is it going to be a banger, we have two teams that are both so suited for that map. You have these duels out middle on Train. Wow. We have these duels out middle on Train. You want these two teams.
I think this one matters.
It's a little loud.
Oh, yeah.
That was a little louder.
That was louder than usual. Look, they're a boisterous team. Don't get me wrong in the best of circumstances, but this one means a lot. History, folks. History. Contextualizing it again, this streak, they would surpass Liquid. They'd be second only to that absolutely unbelievable NIP run. This would cement Vitality as one of the strongest teams in modern Counter-Strike history.
It might already be a solidified case in some ways, Mike. The fact that during Liquid's run, they won 7 BO1s, and they also beat five of the matches were teams outside of the top 30. Vitality have won 0 BO1s in this match streak. They've also, all of the teams they've beaten have been within the top 30. So Apex, though, is going to look at that, and he wants more, okay? He's not satisfied because we can contextualize and justify the streak being more impressive today. He wants to actually accomplish it.
Yeah, I think solidified is the right way to put it. I mean, you go back to the beginning of the streak, you ask someone, 2025 Counter-Strike, MR12, T-sided CS, can a team win 23 series in a row? They're going to say no. They're going to tell you no. They're going to say it's not possible. Vitality have proven it's possible. In modern Counter-Strike, this is one of the greats, win or lose.
Absolutely true, but it does feel like this consistency almost is a magic spell. They've been so close to losing that final map in the series, to getting edged out in a best of 5, and every time they found that little bit of spark to get their way back in, and if they get interrupted, if they stumble on their way to the major, on their way into the future, could that spell just dissipate? Do they need to keep this momentum?
The plot armor's too strong, Mike. Against 7 match points against Falcons on Nuke, they were still able to win rounds that otherwise they shouldn't have. We saw the clutch from ZywOo also in that retake on that lower bomb site. It feels like they're just destined for it. Today, I'm going for Vitality, not just because I think they're the best team in the world, but because everything is just pointing that direction. The emotions are there, the narratives are building up there. Apex right now, best in-game leader in the world, and he's gonna prove it with a win.
They seem destined for some magic in this one. If they get down, they still have the confidence. And we're talking about the clutches in some of these finals. It does feel magical the way Vitality have managed this. And they're going to continue it. They have no problem.
It's that magic in the story that builds legends. It's that magic in the story that creates moments of absolute, incredible human achievement. And 2 incredible humans whose voice we deserve to bring through this historic moment. We've got Scrawny and Launders. Take it away.
Oh, Michael, always making us blush over here. Yes, no, you guys have put it perfectly. The historical contextualization is excellent, and now we just have to bear witness to what could be a 24th consecutive win, Mo. That's what it's all about today in this semifinals in Copenhagen.
It was broke down perfectly between, the fact that in terms of BO3s, Vitality are already ahead, and how they've just had such an amazing year. Nothing will take anything away from that. But for them, there's the most simple record possible, just match streaks, being able to crush that record. They can do that here. Everybody knows that tonight, and that's what makes this game so special. Now, as Zontix mentioned, Vitality are not going to be at 100%. They're tired. He doesn't believe anyone can win over 30 games in a row or whatever the quote was. But they're probably going to have a little extra energy for this specific match.
I would maybe doubt Vitality a little more if they came in off that flight from Australia and showed us a hiccup in their opening games, but they have been playing excellently so far this week. And so it's just up to them to continue to do what they've done for 23 other games and stay a step ahead. 2 consecutive best-of-5 wins as well in this head-to-head prior to the game going live. A game that starts quickly with ZywOo's name in the kill feed. 2 first frags towards top middle. Bombs late to that party. And the other parties remaining for Spirit over towards Palace. Now bomb hits the ground. Dire straight for Spirit to start this matchup.
Yeah, it's already a scary pistol here for Vitality. we had ZywOo miss a cat jump and then turn that into an instant, 2K, 1 bullet each kill. More headshots come in and everybody dies for Spirit. That is an easy round for Vitality.
Right, that's a good sign. 5 up, 5 down, smooth as need be. Fist bumps all around for Apex, captaining this ship towards greatness. And ZywOo, the greatness himself, just 2 taps towards top middle for a comfortable pistol.
And that's one thing where even if Apex says, I'm tired, we're tired, I'm feeling fried, I don't know if there's anybody who hates losing more than him right now.
Feels that way.
From every testimony I've heard from Flamesy, everyone who's ever played with him, they just say, even if you lose 1 round in a map where you're dominating, he gets tilted visibly. And that's actually an area in which Apex has improved upon over the last couple of years. One of many areas as a player, I think, and as a person, that he's just now covered up all of his blind spots. Emotionally, you only see him kind of get excited to talk smack to the other team. When it comes to his gameplay as well, back in 2020, we used to make fun of him for running too much just not being aware of what he was swinging, and his aim was so bad. He's somehow become the top IGL and a better player at the same time. Usually you have to sacrifice something there. Apex has got both.
I think to really cement your point, for me, the most vivid example of that is just remembering Apex running down a ramp on Vertigo. How many times would he just be the first guy to die, just charging out through smokes needlessly?
Or jump spotting back red on Nuke, playing outside.
Sure,
like just can't die, but has no idea when he's going to be hurt. It's just such a different player.
Yep.
And
so refined.
Yeah. It's as if he's getting younger. It's kind of scary.
Like a nice French wine, only better with age. And, well, better with guns, as you'd anticipate. A Glock kill from Donk. All that's looking likely here for Spirit. Nice dink on Apex, but he'll hold that line down. Doesn't die. So from 5 standing to 4 standing, it's a smooth sailing at the start of this for the 2-0 start.
We've also got quite a perfect situation, I think, for ZywOo, where he is achieving new heights individually, but still sort of the same player that his Vitality need and is consistently the best player for the team as well. It's kind of, he's just got the best roster that he possibly had. I mean, even back when, we're talking about like the Masuda, Shocks, and other player variations of this lineup.
Kyojin.
They were so much weaker. Like, he really didn't have a lot of help in some of those situations until Spinks came on. And now Spinks becomes an upgrade into Rops, and Flamesy comes in for Dupree, who was sort of he was a bet on the future, right?
Surely.
Maybe at the time, it's like, Flamesy on stage? We don't know. Well,
I think a pickup of circumstance as well. His contract expiring with OG, it was sort of like if we don't get him, someone else will. And Flamesy could have very well just as easily been weaponized against this Vitality streak. So they seized the day, and maybe arguably one of the best things Zonic did right before he left. Saw his promise. There's a pickup here from Apex. So starting this game off strong, his 4th kill, but so low in this situation. Death felt inevitable. Nice double. The fact Donk ends up picking one up, but he gets dropped right thereafter. And anytime you can get Donk limited to 1 kill in a round is generally a good round for Spirit's competitors. We go 3 versus 3 with a low ROP solo B hold. Allows for Mezzi to come double up alongside a very silent and sneaky looking ZywOo.
It's actually a pretty cool spot for ZywOo to be playing in this spot because they're up numbers. The time is actually ticking down. So he'll start to move out. Oh, and he gets punished. Very nice find here from Magix.
Could damn well be a key piece to the success against Vitality. He's gonna go running. Rops lets his guard down. Very late lurk from Zontix. Mezzi will know at worst. 1v2 right here. Back turn, that's great. But insta response here from Shiro to shut down sight. And so I think one of the key talking points prior to the game is talking about, I don't want to, I was going to call them bottom feeders. That's not the right word. But,
the dogs.
The lack of impact from guys like Magix and Zontix versus Vitality in the head-to-heads, right? Those are 2 dudes that got to step it up tonight. If you're going to break this curse and simultaneously break their streak, let's keep seeing more of this from Magix.
Yeah, let's see if we get a Shanghai Magix all of a sudden.
Bottom feeders.
Bottom feeders.
That's rude.
The streets are believing in ZywOo, which I can totally understand. There's been so many amazing conversations, narrative consistently in this game so far. I mean, in this tournament and just in CS2 lately that, you know, if ZywOo was the only player to talk about, that would be enough. That would satiate like the average guy. Like, whoa, you know, what's ZywOo going to do this year? But right now you have Donk on the other side, who's just as good as 24. You have Monacy. You have these teams. You have this streak going on for Vitality. You have Spirits, who for me is still just like a new challenger, I feel like. Like, they've obviously just won the Shanghai Major, but, you know, Vitality are 5 years old, and they feel kind of new, you know, with some of the legacy orgs that are getting into the mix. But Spirit are here to stay.
Clean. They commit to that boost for quite a while.
It's a great find because they have cat control.
Flamesy
they can see
feeling a
him
bit
walking the
exposed.
connector. Yeah.
He holds off Palace at least. Good clean duel. Makes a drop. Plays the audio. Comes back in for more damage. But Donk and Shiro headshots come through. And that duo is deadly so far in Copenhagen.
Oh, that one kill's so big.
One half of it dead. So Shiro to Chopper is going to have to be how they pull off this post plant. And we're going to get Rops testing the idea of moving around towards CT spawn. Curious to see whether Chopper wants to take the fight. He swings. That's on his own accord. Pushes this into the hands of Shiro, who we know can clutch. And it's currently still a separated retake. But Rops comes to join up with Mezzy. Both of them side by side on this approach. Rops looking for the high rope. And there, off of the top of stairs, he'll find his kill. So Vitality lets Spirit take one, but then answer right back.
It's a nice sort of reassess of the situation there for Rops. He knows he's got Shiro in a very tough spot when he gets Chopper dead in CT spawn. Only way to lose that, I think, is to give Shiro 2 1v1s. So we know how good he can be in the clutch, but not when you play that carefully.
I saw with that Blast TV poll asking the fans who's most likely to drop those 20 kills. And understandably, the vote goes